All right, we're here with Pat Phillips, the PGA Pro over at Wedges inside the Wehrle Dome, the spot to go get your clubs taken care of for equipment, regrips, club purchasing, lessons, everything's over there. And Pat kind enough to give us a few minutes here. We've obviously spoken with him a few times during the course of our golf season here on Tee to Green. And Pat, this week we're going to talk a little bit about putting and the experience of putters. But before we get into maybe what would be a putting fitting experience, there are so many putter options out there right now. And we see it on the PGA Tour. Guys have just traditional old school blade putters, huge mallets, the longer putters. What are some of the trends that you're seeing this year as of late with putters itself?
Yeah, I mean, mainly what we have are just traditional style putters, and they fall into three categories. You got face balance putters, you got slight toe hang, and you got a heavy toe hang. And that's for a different style of stroke. Somebody that has a face balance putter, somebody that needs a face balance putter would be somebody that has more of a straight back and straight through kind of stroke. Never really ever is it very straight. It's a slight arc is what it is. We're always got a little bit of an arc, but some people have more of an arc. If you have a really big arc and you release the putter head, you need something with a little more toe hang. And when we do our putter fittings, we use the SAM Puttlab, and that kind of helps us identify what kind of stroke you have, what kind of aim you have at address. And that's how we kind of get to what style putter is good for you. We haven't had a whole lot of people asking about the long putter, like the broomstick or the arm lock. There's been a little more interest in the arm lock putters, but we haven't really carried those just yet. But we've had a few people asking about them because they seem to be getting more popular on the tour.
Yeah, what kind of data would someone that comes in and gets fitted on the SAM Puttlab see? I mean, I know when I did it, I always used a more traditional kind of blade style look to it, but the data when I did it showed me a few years ago that I should be using a mallet. And I also found out, even just from using it, that I stand a little bit too far over the ball. And I know that Kevin Hofstetter, who did it with me, said that most people actually stand not far enough close to the ball. He's like, oh, you're in the other way. I was actually too far over. So he actually added about a half an inch to my putter, and then he said, take your same stance. But the half an inch actually made me stand up a little more upright, which then put my eyes right over the ball. So even just something simple like that I would have never have known. But what are some of the info that you could find out from doing this?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things I think we find out is that most people are aiming incorrectly. We find that out just from where you're standing over the ball. That makes a big difference, right? Because if you're going straight back and straight through, your eyes are probably going to be more over the ball. If you're a little bit further away from the ball, then you're going to promote more of a bigger arc, right? So you might need a different style putter. But if you get too close to the ball, like you're saying, is that you're kind of getting your eyes on the other side of the ball, then you're seeing the line a little bit differently from there. Now, every time you look down, you're gonna look down and you're gonna see a different line. That's one thing. And then there's a lot of other things that is just like the TrackMan, while we're tracking launch and spin conditions. I mean, it actually will let us know if you're adding too much loft or de-lofting the putter too much. And that'll promote either a top spin, neutral spin, or backspin, right? So we don't really want to have backspin on the putter. It's like, because if you're a person that is having really a lot of trouble getting the ball to the hole, there's probably a good chance that you're adding too much loft to that. So it probably jumps up a little bit and it just isn't going to get the roll out. So that's one thing that's one of the things that it'll track. It tracks impact location on the face, so then that's how we can kind of get to the proper length too, right? If the toe of the club is up in the air, which it'll track, or if the toe is down, we can adjust that by making sure the person has the right length putter for them.
And one thing that I think, we try to always emphasize, we talk so much about drivers and how to increase your length, and I'm sure, Pat, you get it too with your customers that come in, but there's only one club that you are going to use on every hole that you play, and that's the putter. So the fact that probably golfers take more awareness of their driving and, if they go to the driving range or if they go to practice, what do they spend more of their time on? It's probably on driver and how far can I hit it and all. And obviously that's important, but there's one club you use on every hole, and that's the putter. And that's a great way to improve your game and try to get strokes off your score.
Yeah, that's correct. What was that, like 6 weeks ago? Rory McIlroy, he won that tournament, and he hit 20% of the fairways off the tee, right? So he missed 80% of the fairways, but he made everything on the green. Yeah. So it kind of tells you what is the most important club. That the guy that's winning on the tour, the girl that's winning on the LPGA, they're going to be in the top 5 in putting stats and getting up and down from around the green. So short game and putting is the game, really. It's like you could shave a lot of strokes off your game, especially if you have the right putter that's fit to you, the right length, the right loft, the right lie angle. I mean, those are big deals for us, Yeah. And we have a bunch of different length putters in there, and even Ping has their adjustable putters, which they go from anywhere from 32 inches to 35 or 36 inches in length. So the fitting process for the putters is kind of fun. You learn a little bit about your stroke too. Some people don't know that they don't have the right style putter. They might be missing it one way or the other, and it could be just because they're using the wrong style putter for your stroke.
Yeah. I love the stat you brought up about Rory. The one stat that I loved from a few weeks ago from the US Open, the leader at the halfway point, Richard Bland from England, that none of us had even heard of coming in. He was near the bottom and driving, but putting inside of 10 feet through the first 2 rounds, he was 31 for 31. It was the only one in the field that was 100% inside of 10 feet. And look, he was on the top of the leaderboard. Obviously no one predicted it, but it just shows, like, even if the rest of your game is, quote, average, if you're putting well, you can be on the top of the board at your local tournament that you're in.
Yeah. Yeah. You could everybody has that round where you go out there and you didn't feel like you scored very well. You didn't feel like you hit the ball very well, but you scored the same, right? Yeah. So you get that all the time. I didn't hit it very good off the tee, but I made a lot of putts, and then it happens the other way too, right? Maybe you're hitting it better and you just didn't get it in the hole. And so it's important to get the right style putter for sure, but the arm lock putters and everything like this, who knows what's going to happen. There's been a lot of discussion now about those, whether they're going to, make that an illegal stroke because it's kind of anchored to your arm. I don't know. It's the traditionalists don't like that for sure.
Yeah. Well, the last thing here, Pat, let's just talk about regrips. I just came in recently and had my putter regripped at Woods to Wedges. How about just grip options? There's so many now that you can have, from the traditional look to the super stroke and everything in between.
Yeah. Size of it. That's a lot of personal preference, but now a lot of people have like the claw grip. So their Super Stroke came out with a grip that they call the claw grip. It's a little flatter at the bottom. It's kind of like the pistol style at the top for the top hand, and then the bottom hand just a little bit more narrow and rectangular. So you could use the claw grip for that. Donna just got these other ones it's called the wrist lock putter. It's kind of like arm lock, but you just put it on your normal putter, and it has a little bump out that kind of rests against your lead wrist. And then there's just all kinds of rubber grips and different sizes and shapes. So we just kind of say, just hold them and see how it, you got to test them out. I mean, it's very difficult to just tell somebody, yeah, this is probably the best putter grip for you, because it is such a personal preference there.
Pat Phillips with us here from Woods to Wedges. Yeah, they got a big display at the store inside the Wehrle Dome. You can go in and try out all those different putter grips. I would advise, if you're going to get a new putter anytime soon, go in and try out their SAM Puttlab. I did it, and I'm putting great with the putter that they fitted for me there. So, Pat, enjoy your rest of your summer here. We'll chat within the next month or so on the show, and thanks for your great insight on putting today.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Always a pleasure.
All right.